Hi everybody, Ellen here. Today I come to you guys with my July book haul. This is actually part 2 of my book haul. So if you haven't seen the first part yet, then you should go check that out because it's a huge haul. But this time I have 14 books to talk about, so we better just get started because it's a lot of books. So the first one is Legacy by Shannon Messenger. This is the 8th book, I want to say, in Keeper of the Lost Cities series, and I just caved in finally and just decided that I needed to buy them as they come out. So they're not gonna match because all the other copies I have are paperback and now I own a hardcover, but I'm weak. I needed it. But this is about Sophie Foster. She is actually finds out in the first book that she is not human. She's in fact an elf, and she goes to live in the elven world, and she finds out about this different powers and abilities that she possesses, and she goes to this magic school and she finds out more about herself and her background and where she comes from, and she repeatedly has to save the world. I love this series so much. It's definitely one of my favorite series of all time, and I just look forward to continuing with it. And then we have Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki, illustrated by Rosemary Valero O'Connell. And this cover is so freaking beautiful. This is a graphic novel with like only black and gray and some pinks thrown in it. So we meet Freddie or Frederica, and she has this relationship with another girl called Laura Dean, but Laura Dean isn't really treating her very well because she keeps breaking up with her around different holidays, and they keep getting back together, and it's sort of a destructive sort of relationship, and we get to follow Frederica on this sort of hard understanding of why she shouldn't be in that kind of a relationship. As you guys know, I'm very particular about my graphic novels. I don't really tend to like a lot of them, but I did enjoy this one, mostly because of the beautiful cover. But yeah, I really enjoyed reading this one, so at least there was something on this list. Then we have The Black Flamingo by Dina Ara. This is written in prose, so it should be really quick read. It also has like text messages and things, so it's a sort of a mixed media kind of thing going on. And this is about a guy named Michael. He actually sort of gets wrapped up and starts going into like drag shows and stuff. And I never read a book about drag shows, but it sounds absolutely amazing, and I really need to get to this one ASAP. And then we have I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Enrique L. Sanchez. This one we meet Julia, and she's not the perfect Mexican daughter. And that was her sister Olga's role, but then after a tragic accident, Olga dies, and Julia has to, pick up the pieces that are left from her family, and no one seems to acknowledge the fact that Julia is also broken because of this accident, and instead her mother channels her grief into pointing out every possible way Julia has failed. So I feel like this will be a really hard-hitting book, not only because of this tragic accident that killed her sister, but also because her mother is kind of taking out on Julia. But sounds really interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. We had a lot of books in verse in this haul, but this is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I did haul Clap When You Land not that long ago by her. I haven't read it yet, but that's also verse, and I have read With the Fire on High by this author, which I really did enjoy. But I don't really know a lot about this one. I just know it's written in verse, and the main character, I think, writes slam poetry. That's all I know, but it sounds really cool. It has great ratings on Goodreads, and people really seem to enjoy it, so hopefully I will too. And then we have Hate List by Jennifer Brown. This is about Valerie and her boyfriend Nick. They get sort of bullied in school, so they together come up with this hate list of everybody that they hate in school, that has been bullying them and treating them badly and stuff like that. But then one day, Nick, which is Valerie's boyfriend, comes to school. He's shooting down everybody on this hate list, and Valerie tries to save them pretty much. And Valerie comes back to school after the summer, and she has to go through just with everybody's thinking that she was involved in the school shooting, that she was a part of it, and how people are treating her because of that, even though she had nothing to do with it. So it sounds like a really horrible, hard-hitting story, so really interesting how this is going to go. And then we have Late to the Party by Kelly Quinlan, and this is about Lee, and she has never crashed a party, never stayed out too late, she's never been kissed. And she doesn't believe that's just because she's gay, but it's because she and her two best friends Maritza and Jacori spend more time in the basement watching Netflix than engaging with the outside world. So one day when Maritza and Jacori suggest crashing a party, Cody is highly skeptical because those parties aren't for kids like them, they're for cool kids, straight kids. But then Cody stumbles upon one of the cool kids, Ricky, kissing another boy in the dark, and then an unexpected friendship is formed, and Ricky kind of takes Cody underneath his wing and tries to learn her the ropes and everything. So this is surprisingly short actually, it's under 300 pages. So I feel like it would be a really quick read. And then we have Silicas Journey by Heather Morris. This is the sequel to The Tattooist of Auschwitz, which I read last month, I think. But in this one we meet Silka, who's also a minor character in the first book, and we kind of get to find out her story about what happened to her during her stay in Auschwitz-Birkenau and what happened afterwards when the concentration camps were shut down. And that's pretty much all I want to say because I don't want to spoil anything, but you know, she's in Auschwitz, so that's pretty much says a lot about the subject of this historical fiction. But yeah, I think this is also based on, it's based on a heartbreaking true story. So just like the first book, it's, you know, someone's true story. So really looking forward to reading this one, and this is a hunker. It's a lot bigger than the first one was, but I really enjoyed that one, so I'm looking forward to reading this one too. And then we have A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. This cover is absolutely gorgeous, but this book is also so short. I think it's like 280 pages or something like that. And I don't really know a lot about this book. I just know it's about sirens, and then there's some sort of celebrity online or something like that actually spills the bean about the fact that she's also a siren, and that's all I know. I'm usually not very much for stories that involves around like mermaids or sirens or stuff like that, but it's just so gorgeous that I just kind of want to give it a chance. Now I'm really hoping that I will love it, but we'll see. And then we have Tell Me How You Really Feel by Amina May Safi. This is a book with LGBTQ plus representation, and in this one we meet Sana. First time she asked out a girl, which was Rachel, it went so bad that she never did it again. Rachel is a film buff and an inspired director, and she's seen Carrie enough times to learn you can never trust cheerleaders and beautiful people. Rachel was furious as Sana tried to prank her by asking her on a date. When it comes time for Rachel to cast her senior project, she realizes there is no one more perfect than Sana, the girl she sneered at in the halls for the past 3 years, to play the lead role. And poor Sana, she says yes. She never did get over that first crush, even if Rachel can barely stand to be in the same room as her. And then I'm guessing feelings will arise. And the last 4 books are actually in this box set. And this is the Lord of the Rings trilogy plus The Hobbit. I'm going to take them out and show you the covers. So these are actually struggles. So these are actually newly published version of them. They came out just like a few weeks ago, and we have and it's also illustrated by Alan Lee. So we have the maps in the front, and then in the books there's illustrations, like I said, like here for example, and there's also pictures with like colors in them and stuff. This is by J.R.R. Tolkien, like you all know, and this is illustrated by Alan Lee, which I think I said. But this is The Hobbit, and I read The Hobbit maybe like 8 years ago or something. And there goes all the books. I read The Hobbit like 8 years ago, something like that. I did really enjoy it, not as much as the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but this is about Bilbo's journey, and like I feel like I don't need to tell people any more than that because everybody already knows what it's about, but I'm looking forward to reading about it again. First of all, we have The Fellowship of the Ring, and these are all illustrated, of course. And then we have The Two Towers, And then last but not least, because this is the biggest one, The Return of the King. So I actually read all of these four like in a combined sort of book, so it was enormous, like 12 years ago or something like that. It was a really long time ago, and I've been looking out for beautiful editions ever since, and I'm really happy to find these with illustrations in them and everything. So I'm really happy about these. But yeah, those were the last books of this fall and the last books of July. I have a feeling for sure that I'm going to have a lot of books to haul in August as well, because I have issues, man, like really. I need to stop buying so many books because they won't fit soon. But yeah, if you have read any of these books, please let me know down below what you thought about them, without spoiling of course. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give me some thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking the button down below. And yeah, I hope to see each other in the next one. Bye!